We've been here to be exact. That's crazy. 5 years. We started this in the spring of 2019.
And how many playoff appearances have the Hornets and Panthers been since that time? Sorry,
big
man.
fat 0.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, man.
Yeah, another year. Another no Charlotte Hornets in the playoffs.
All right, man. We look, okay. There's 5 years of misery. Let's try to pep it up. Our fans need us. We need each other's support to get through this crap.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
I don't know anymore. Welcome to Under Construction, everyone.
Yes, welcome to Under Construction. I'm Kaiser Sose. We got the apathetic black fan. I am kind of just the
blah.
I too am apathetic. I completely forgot the NFL draft was this week. I don't really, like I watched the last few games of the Charlotte Hornets season, like kind of like I had other shit to do, like it was in the background.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, Miles Bridges dunked on someone, that's cool, or Brandon Miller dunked on someone, man, that's awesome, and then went back to what I was doing. I'm not looking at mock drafts because everyone is trying to tell me, no, the draft isn't as weak as you think it is. I don't know, man. Y'all telling me?
I'm sorry, for which one? NFL or NBA?
What's that?
For which one? NFL or NBA?
Both. But the NBA draft, y'all telling me Stephon Castle's the number one pick? He's projected to go number one, and it's not a weak draft.
Since we're here, let's go. All right. Hey, everyone! In case you didn't know, diehard UConn fan.
By the way, real quick, before you go, I remember one of the last episodes that we did. We talked about the tournament, and you said you had never been more confident that UConn was going to win than before this year. And so my bracket, I had UConn going all the way. And
I told you.
I was like, you know what, Jamal, is never wrong about UConn. So I'm going to segue, since you are never wrong about UConn.
All right, Stephon Castle, man. I'll tell you this much. Stephon Castle has all the intangible stuff you want. Plays defense. He competes. He has a very high motor. Those are all those intangible things that you want in a player, in a draft pick, whatever. You will draft Stephon Castle on potential because Stephon Castle will not change your franchise around, but nor will anybody in this godforsaken draft change your franchise around. So, Kaz, I'm going to throw you a curveball. Based off what I just said, he might be a number one pick. You know why? Because anybody in this draft could be a number one pick.
Yep.
There's no separation. There's no talent in this draft to say, you know what, that guy is so much better than everybody else. There's no Victor Wembanyama in this draft. There's no Anthony Davis in this draft.
There's no Brandon Millers in this draft.
There's no Brandon Millers in this draft. There's no Scoot Henderson in this draft. Well, maybe, but whatever. Okay,
yeah, there might be a guy who can average 12 points.
But anyway, back to Stephon Castle, man. The potential is out of the roof. Okay, the athleticism is there. The attitude is there. He is the anti-James Bouknight when it comes to attitude, work ethic, and character. He's the total antithesis of James Bouknight. But you're drafting him on potential. But in this draft, you're drafting everyone off potential. So if you're looking at those intangibles, you say, you know what? I want a guy like that to help change my culture. Then you go right ahead and you draft Stephon Castle. If you want to draft someone based on who's the best talent right now, I don't know if I do that.
But see, the Hornets. Okay, so the Hornets are getting the number one pick. We all know the Hornets are going to get the number one pick
because there's nobody worth a crap in the draft. So that's exactly the year we'll get the number one pick.
Even though people were mad, it was funny. People were mad the Hornets won that last game against Cleveland because that knocked us out of the bottom three. Who gives a? Who cares?
And not only that, but I was thinking, have y'all not learned y'all lesson yet? Like, we won 7 damn games and didn't win the draft lottery.
Right. So,
and then another year we win 30 games and get the number 3 pick. Stop worrying about it. Stop it.
So we'll probably get the number 1 pick. Or it not that, but see, here's the thing. It doesn't matter who's the number 1 or 1 and 5 is probably all the same, which is why I agree with Swagner here. Trade the pick. If the Hornets pick anywhere, I'd say in the top 6, somebody will be willing to part with a very valuable veteran, known commodity, to get a top 6 pick. There are teams out there that want Zach Edey, even though no one else seems to think he's going to be. I think he's going to be a solid pro, but there are teams out there that want a Stephon Castle, or trade that pick, mainly because there's nobody the Charlotte Hornets could draft in this draft, even in the top 10, that's going to come in and be immediately impactful. You trying to tell me that Stephon Castle, let's say he got drafted by the Charlotte Hornets, is he really going to be better than Trey Mann or Nick Smith Jr.?
Or Cody Martin? Because I will.
Or Cody Martin or Bryce McGowan?
Yeah, and I say Cody Martin for a reason, man, because he reminds me a lot of Cody Martin. Cody Martin was not the best outside shooter either, coming into the league with Stephon Castle, which is his weakness, the outside shot. But all the intangibles, all the defensive stuff, all the character stuff, all the hardworking characters and culture stuff that you want in a player. But at the same time, it's like it's a unfinished project. And a lot of these kids are getting drafted in the lottery in this particular draft they're projects.
Right.
The Hornets don't have time for projects. We drafted enough of those. Exactly. And damn near every one of those have failed. I'm sick of it. Get a known commodity, man, to help you win right now.
I do not want to see the Hornets draft someone in the top 10 just to know that they're going to have to develop and sit on the bench. I don't care how good they are not as good as there's going to be 4 players in front of them. LaMelo Ball, Miles Bridges, who will probably get re-signed, Brandon Miller, Mark Williams. That's the core right there. So you add another top 5 pick to that. There's going to be a guy who's going to have to develop. I'm tired of – I don't want to see any more guys develop. The Hornets have a good core. I think everyone can agree we have a good core of players. The trades that were made after or during the trade deadline have kind of shored up the bench. I think we've got some quality NBA-esque players on the bench. Just trade that pick. They won't, because the owners, new owners always want to make a splash.
Always want to make a splash. Yep.
We got a new GM coming down the. Although Mitch is hanging around in an advisory role, we don't even know what that means.
Right.
Yeah,
and real quick, man, for anybody out there watching, I'm not sure how light or heavy it is in the chat room, but please throw us some names. I'll tell you what I know about them. I know, I'm not even gonna say Kaiser. Me and you are kind of on the same page, honestly, man.
I'm gonna be honest. Draft Alex Sarr or Zach Edey, and I know everyone is low on, but the Hornets. The center position, I think, is weaker than we think it is. I'm not 100% on Mark Williams' health. I'm not. Back problems. If it was an ankle or a shoulder or something, okay. Back problems, NBA players just don't do well, okay?
Yeah.
And the Hornets, and as good as Nick Richards is, he's a solid NBA backup. I don't think he can carry the load as a starter. He doesn't have the offensive or defensive tools to do that. So I think our front court is just a weakness. We have enough guards. We have enough wings. And it just if you're gonna pick somebody, pick someone in the front court.
All right. So Kaza, as we are talking, the Dallas Mavericks and the Los Angeles Clippers are about to play. Which reminds me that the Clippers supposedly signed Kai Jones to a multi-year deal, which quite honestly, I don't know how long that meant because I didn't look at it to tell you the honest to God truth. I know this is kind of a blanket question, man, but just in general, man, how do you feel about Kai Jones going to the Clippers? And I say this relating to what we're talking about because it still kills me that this dude flipped out, lost his damn mind, whatever happened, and he could have easily been the third guy at least. So it just kind of kills me to see him go to another team, man. What are you feeling about that?
Same here. I don't blame the Hornets for the way they handled that situation.
Same.
They tried to get him help, and even of his own admission, the Hornets were all about, look, man, you need some help. We'll do what we can do. And he brushed them off, and they said, okay, well, we can't waste time on you. And now he goes to a better team where he's going to get better.
He's in the playoffs already.
Yeah, he's in the playoffs. He's probably going to get some playing time. Yeah, it's just it sucks. The Hornets are like the farm team for the rest of the NBA. We saw this with Christian Wood, right?
Yeah.
Christian Wood wasn't having. He might have been having mental health issues. We don't know, but the Hornets said, "Hey, man, we love your potential. We want to sit down. We want to help you. Michael Jordan wants you to come into his office and watch film with him." And Christian Wood was like, "Nah, I ain't doing that." The Hornets said, "All right, bye." And then he realizes, man, that was stupid of me. And then he goes to Houston, and he ends up getting a big contract. So it's like that same situation all over again with Kai Jones. I just hope that this. I just see. I'm not even cautiously optimistic about next season. I just know somebody's gonna get injured.
Kaza, let me cut you off because I'm glad you said this. My whole theme behind our Hornets talk today, I didn't even tell you this before we went on today. My whole thinking behind the Hornets offseason and going into next season was nothing ever goes right. I'm sick and tired of blaming the GM and the owner and blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. The fact, I just want something to go right. Everything that can possibly have gone wrong in the last 2 seasons has gone wrong. And I do mean everything. Let me be clear. Management has not been perfect in these scenarios, but there's just a ton of other stuff. You just look at some of the stuff that happened with the Hornets. You just say, why does that only happen to us?
Yeah, somebody's going to get injured. It's going to be LaMelo. Here's probably what's going to happen. Miles is going to sign a big contract.
Then he's going to get injured. Yeah.
He's going to twist his ankle or some shit. On that note, yeah, the LaMelo Ball either has to wear those braces or go to Puma and say, make me a new shoe. LeVar Ball said something that I kind of agreed with very recently, where he talked about the shoes. He was saying that LaMelo was injured because of the shoes, and I can't remember the exact verbiage he used, but he talked about how the rehab exercises were just simply not valuable. And right. I kind of agree with him there. The proof is in the pudding. Now, that was the messenger is wrong, because I was thinking, didn't Lonzo get injured wearing Big Baller Brand shoes? But I digress. A lot of people who have bought the LaMelo Ball shoes and the other Puma basketball shoes have lamented on how they're just not good for playing basketball. The ankle support's not there, and they're good looking shoes, but they're kind of iffy as far as basketball shoes. So with that being said, the LaMelo Ball has got to do something about his ankles. He's got to show that he is all in on making sure that he's healthy this season, instead of just saying, oh, well, sometimes people get injured. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear it.
Yeah, and another piece with this, man, like with LaMelo Ball in particular, like I'm looking at Anthony Edwards right now, man, with the Timberwolves, and he's like killing KD the other night, man, and the Wolves in the playoffs. That was his number 1 seed. And I'm thinking to myself, like, and look, I don't want to start no LaMelo versus Anthony Edwards argument. Let me be very clear about that, okay? But at the same time, it's easy to say those were the 2 best talents in that draft. I think we can all agree there, right? But I'm just thinking to myself, I'm looking at all the success Anthony Edwards has, and I'm just like, LaMelo Ball should be in that ilk right now. Yeah. He should be on playing meaningful games on national TV right now, doing some spectacular things in playoff games. Like, we should be there right now where Anthony Edwards at. Maybe not number one seed. Let me be very clear about that. But you get what I'm saying. Like the position, like the Melo Ball and the Charlotte Hornets should be better than it is now. But again, nothing ever goes right.
LaMelo Ball he's behind on his development. Anthony Edwards is not. Anthony Edwards has ascended to a star player who can lead his team into the playoffs. And if they beat the Phoenix Suns, which it looks like, I mean, I know
they beat them handily last night.
Yeah, it's not a complete indicator, but they look like they could make a deep playoff run. He's arrived. LaMelo Ball hasn't even sniffed the playoffs. Yeah, he can't even get past the playing game when he does. And when he does play, he hasn't played well. So, I feel bad for LaMelo, but at the same time, I'm not saying it's not his fault he's injured. I don't want to say that. But if the team says, hey, we have a solution we'd like you to try, and he says,
right,
nah, I don't want to do that. Well, then, all right. Sit in street clothes. I don't know.
No, if you don't want to do it, then I hate to say it, then we need to start looking at exploring some trades if that's the case.
Yeah. I mean, you got to do something.
I don't know what owner, new or old, is interested in wasting $50 million a year for your player to not play. Exactly. So
now I will say this is a good point here. The training staff for the Hornets is one of the most underfunded in the entire league. We've made the point that the training staff, looking at their resume, they're just not an elite. They don't appear to be an elite training staff, although they do have one of the head trainers from the Lakers team that won the title a few years ago. But otherwise, there's clearly a deficiency there. And one of the things the new owners said they would do is that would be an area that they would address, would be the training staff, the facilities, and whatnot. So.
Speaking of those new owners were initially bought in by Jordan when they were minority owners to help out with that kind of stuff. And I've asked this question 20 different times, and I'm going to ask it again. Why the hell was it not addressed when they were initially bought on by Jordan?
Bro, Jordan only cared about selling shoes, man. I mean, that's it. That's all he do.
I just want to know why this stuff wasn't addressed. Whatever, man. Hey, I'm just a dude with a YouTube show.
I want everyone to know owners say a lot of things. They will say anything to get you to buy tickets.
Or to get you to sell their share in the team, apparently.
Saying, hey, we're going to spend our money out of our pockets in order to ensure that our training staff and facilities are top notch, and actually doing it are two things. Case in point, David Tepper. I mean, he said that when he bought the team, 6 years ago?
Right.
The Panthers still have the same practice facility that they've had for the last 20 years. So we'll see as far as that goes. But I just know the season's going to start. Someone's going to be injured, and we'll be talking about the same shit next year.
Can somebody at least just not get arrested this offseason? Like the bar is so low right now. Can somebody not have a damn mental breakdown, and can somebody not be drunk in the damn parking deck this offseason? Like, can the coach we hire not back out on us? Like, can we just have just the most regular offseason we can possibly have?
So the Hornets have begun their coaching search. Mike Budenholzer is not on the list for some reason. So I need someone from the comments or the team or the universe to explain to me why that's the case and why they're interviewing one of the G League head coach. I can't remember her name, so forgive me because I don't have it here in front of me, but she did coach the Sacramento G League team, which won the G League championship. As noble as that may be, if you have a guy like Mike Budenholzer, shouldn't you just be throwing all the money at him? We're talking about a guy who has won a championship in today's era recently, so he knows the modern NBA. Thank you, Lindsey Harding. Thank you, or Lauren Harding. Yes, thank you. You got a guy who knows how to work with superstars. Having coached Giannis, and I still feel like he got a bad deal from the Bucks. I mean, they were one of the best teams in the league in I mean, they lost the playoff series. That I don't think it was his fault. I think the Milwaukee Bucks overreacted, and now he's out of the job. You think?
Well, when your mega superstar starts chirping and complaining, you're gonna pick the superstar over the coach every time. I'll keep it at that. Yeah.
So now there's talk of him talking to teams like the Atlanta Hawks. I mean, don't let this man go coach the Atlanta Hawks. Don't do that. Don't do that.
So I don't even know if I can attempt to answer that question, man. The only thing I can think of is maybe Mike Budenholzer looked at everything that's going on the last 2 years and said, man, I don't want to be a part of that. That's the only thing I can really think of, because on paper and theoretically, you're right. There is just no explanation as to why you are not at this man's doorstep. I'm talking about when he wakes up in the morning, handing him his paper and making his coffee, like, please, will you come coach this damn team? Because otherwise, I don't understand it, man. And I do find it interesting. And let me be clear, I don't know all the ins and outs, because it's not like I follow the Brooklyn Nets, but I do find it interesting that he was ultimately turned down for the Brooklyn Nets job. And they went another way. I forget who they hired, but they hired someone else other than Mike Budenholzer. So at this point, when you look at the vacancies, right? I mean, we've had our fair share of disappointments the last 2 years, to keep it nice. But on paper, are the Atlanta Hawks just so much of a better job than the Charlotte Hornets? Maybe it's the fan talking, but my answer is no. It can't be.
They're not. But the media will tell you otherwise. They've got Trae Young, who's
probably not even going to be there in the next 2 or 3 years.
But he's on the cusp of superstar. And they got DeJounte Murray. They're in Atlanta. They've, over the last decade,
and he's coached there before. Let's not forget about that.
There before, yep. I mean, not 10 years ago, the Atlanta Hawks were a really good team. They were the top seed in the East. I think the feeling is that,
in which he was the coach.
Yeah, the feeling is that Atlanta is on the cusp, and all they need is a coach, whereas Charlotte needs a lot. I don't agree with that. I don't think Charlotte needs a lot at all. We need people to be healthy first and foremost. And I mean, if the team's healthy, Steve Clifford is not the scapegoat that he is. But Clifford's not going to be here. Who else is there, really? Really, who else is there?
I did see a post from James Plowright, who covers the Hornets in the United Kingdom. He actually has some good articles, man. Hornets fans, y'all check out James Plowright, man. He actually does a lot of research, posts some really good stuff, man. I want y'all to really check out his stuff a little more, man. But he did mention that Jay Larranaga, an assistant for the Celtics, was a candidate. I wouldn't be too mad at that. Jay Larranaga, he's been around. You understand what I'm saying? He has a ton of experience on the college level and the NBA level.
Celtics fans want him to be their head coach, actually.
Yeah. So I wouldn't be mad at that at all. But right now, man, that's kind of like, if Mike Budenholzer is not the guy, then Jay Larranaga needs to be the guy. And that's
what's going to happen. They're going to hire some unproven assistant or G League coach, maybe Lauren Harden, maybe Jay. But the Hornets are going to be better next season. Let's assume they stay healthy. And then that person is going to be exalted for getting the Hornets to the next level.
Right.
But I don't know if any of those people can truly carry the Hornets to the next level like a Mike Budenholzer can. Now, the thing is, Budenholzer, really any job that is offered to him, is his to take. And yeah, the Hornets might be a long shot for that. But like, do we really want another unproven assistant? The last time we had that, we didn't even let it try to work out.
Well, Kaiser, let me cut you off there. Let's not act like we don't know why that was, sir. The reason why is because Mr. All-Star rookie, who came with his cult of fans, thought that he should be playing 45 minutes a game and blamed Borrego for every second he didn't. So
someone in the Hornets group told me that there was never any indication that LaMelo Ball didn't like James Borrego, and I was just making that up. So someone in the Hornets group said it, so it must be true.
It must be true. It must be true every time.
Yeah. I don't know. I just hope the Hornets do their due diligence on this coaching search. I'll just say that.
Yeah.
If they reach out to Mike Bud and he says, nah, I don't know, I don't really want to move Charlotte. Okay, fair. Hey, at least you tried. Then, go elsewhere. But I just feel like when you have a candidate like, how often does a pro sports team, particularly one from Charlotte, have a coaching candidate that esteemed, that is just available, that is just out there,
right?
For us to
A
get.
coach that's won a title, basically.
Yeah, coach just won a title, and I mean, it's not like he's even a bad coach. I mean, I think he's a really good coach. So, but yeah, it's gonna be some young assistant. Now, if they go with Harding, I can't be mad at that because that would be historical, right? The first ever woman coaching an NBA team would be historical. And the Hornets have done similar things in the past. James Borrego was the first ever Latino coach in NBA history. So, this is a good note. Yeah, Darvin Ham is gone as soon as the Lakers lose their last game. As soon as they get swept by Denver, he's gone. And that might be more attractive to someone like Mike Budenholzer. But
yeah,
I don't know. Well, I think the Hornets are going to go with some young assistant, and I feel bad for whoever that person is, because if the Hornets don't win 62 games next season, it's their fault.
If the Hornets don't win 60 games next season, LaMelo Ball doesn't play over 40 minutes a game, then they're gone. So
yeah.
Real
quick before we move on. So after that Brandon Miller dunk, which dunk of the year candidate, against Atlanta.
Yeah.
I made a post in the Charlotte Hornets Facebook group of all my all-time favorite Charlotte Hornets dunks. And there's something I noticed about all of the recent ones.
Right.
LaMelo Ball was in all the highlights, but not on the court. He was like, not a single one. It was like LaMelo like coming off the bench height. It's
right.
Like, bro, what? There's no alley-oops to Miles. Nope. Because Miles Bridges had an incredible dunk against Atlanta 3 seasons ago. It might have been LaMelo Ball's second year. And LaMelo Ball was on the bench. I was like, damn, in street clothes. Brandon Miller dunked on street clothes. So I just
celebrating with us, huh? Yeah.
Yeah. Ooh, the Bucks saved us from bringing in Doc. Good. Yeah. You know what?
No comment.
Mark Jackson's still out there. And it is Brandon Miller's team now. Although, let's talk about Miles Bridges. This is a big offseason for the Hornets and Miles Bridges. Miles Bridges essentially publicly made a statement saying that he wants to stay in Charlotte. And he is really thankful for the way the Hornets stood by him when he was going through his legal issues last season. With LaMelo Ball essentially spending, 2/3 of the season on the bench, we essentially saw the Miles Bridges and Brandon Miller show for the rest of the season. And those two, they look like they had a pretty good rapport. Like, I'm not going to say they didn't need LaMelo, but I'm just saying they was doing fine all by themselves. They I got the feeling that Miles Bridges and Brandon Miller were kind of getting close.
Right.
And it might not quite be Brandon Miller's team, but it could be Miles Bridges' team. If he signs that contract, he will be the longest tenured Hornet currently on the roster.
Mm-hmm.
Have a big deal. And Miles Bridges he got a little bit of dog in him. So let me ask you this. One, does Miles Bridges re-sign with the Hornets for a big number, or do they re-sign him? And secondly, is it his team? Is it his team or Miller's team or LaMelo's team? And I know some people will say, well, that doesn't matter. And that's true, but it's somebody's team. You can't have a team where it's like lead by committee. That just doesn't happen.
Yeah. All right. First question, absolutely. I think the Hornets absolutely signed Miles Bridges. I think just by everything that's been exhibited, since he got in trouble, even with the 1-year deal, even with the suspension, the Hornets have done everything they could to have stuck beside Miles Bridges. And I think, regardless of what happened the relationship between the Hornets and Miles Bridges is one that seems to be a really good relationship, so to speak. And I don't know, as far as the number goes, I don't know if we start getting into $30 million range. Maybe 25 would be the range I would shoot for. That's another discussion for another day. But overall, I do say that, yeah, they do. They ultimately get a deal done with Miles Bridges. Now, the second part of this question, I'm probably going to be a little long-winded about this, about whose team this is. Nobody on the Hornets to me, is good enough to say, that's my team. We're talking about a team that won 20 damn games. Ain't nobody's damn team when you win 20 games, okay? Now, I will say this. I will say this very comfortably. LaMelo Ball is still the most important player on the Hornets team. You can argue about who is the best, whose team it is, blah, blah, blah. That's another argument all of y'all can have out there. But I will comfortably say the piece of this puzzle that makes the Hornets go is still LaMelo LaFrance Ball. The offense is night and day when he's not on the court. The wins and losses are night and day when he's not on the court. Don't argue facts. You understand what I'm saying? Yes, LaMelo Ball has some leadership struggles or some questionable leadership skills. LaMelo Ball has some questionable defensive prowess. We get all that. With that being said, he's still the engine that makes the Hornets go. And with him on the floor, and this is a big if, let me put a big asterisk by this right here. If LaMelo Ball learns to play, quote unquote, the right way, what I mean by this is, if LaMelo Ball learns how good Brandon Miller is, if he knows what he has and he knows how to make Brandon Miller better, that's what's important. If LaMelo Ball learning to play with Brandon Miller is more important than anything, and then we could argue about, quote unquote, whose team it is. I know I didn't answer the question, but that's the best way I can explain it.
No, I agree with you there. We forget they're a 20-win team. And yeah, I agree with you. No one can really say it's my team. But I do think that the players feel like Miles Bridges is the leader of the team, not LaMelo Ball.
Oh, okay. Let me backtrack real quick. I want to say something. I know that fans are probably interested in hearing this piece. Okay, if it's the fourth quarter, you down 1, you down 2. Who's the coach drawing up a play for? I think that's what the question really, kind of stands for, right? Right now, LaMelo Ball is the engine that makes this Hornets team go. You understand what I'm saying? He can probably get his shot better than anybody. So right now, man, until proven otherwise,
yeah, I agree.
It's maybe still LaMelo, but you let
LaMelo make the play. Because even if he doesn't get his shot off, if he's surrounded by Bridges, Miller, Williams, he's going to make the right play.
Because Kyle, let me tell you something, Kyle, one more thing about LaMelo, man. I get it. I totally, completely understand how frustrated everyone is with LaMelo's injury history. I completely get that. What I don't like about people coming down on LaMelo, we acting like this dude ain't competitive. And to me, that's garbage. And to me, to say that LaMelo Ball doesn't want to win and he's not competitive, I can't disagree more. We remember the play where Tyrese Halliburton was wanting to win the game against the Hornets, and LaMelo found his defense.
The game, yeah.
He somehow found a way to become Gary Payton on one possession. You understand what I'm saying? That's just an example of what LaMelo Ball still loves basketball. He still is a very competitive person. I don't want people to conflate the injury history as he don't want to play and he don't want to win, because that's garbage to me.
A lot of people feel like LaMelo wants to play despite he's healthy enough to play, but the team is holding him back because they're tanking. Now, here's the thing, that could be true, but if these new owners and the new GM and Mitch are tanking for a top 5 pick in the worst draft of the last 10 years, that tells me all I need to know about this new direction the Charlotte Hornets are going.
That's hustling backwards to me.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree. LaMelo Ball, really, next season, the LaMelo Ball is the key. If he's injured again, then we can
throw the damn season away again. Honestly,
yeah, you might as well take again. And if he's healthy, I think the Hornets will be a very competitive team. I think they'll make the playoffs outright. I don't think there'll be any more of this play-in stuff. But yeah, they got to do something about LaMelo's injuries.
Yeah, and we the main focus is LaMelo, man. But the Hornets have a depth problem, obviously, because Mark Williams missed more than half the season. And before they got traded, Hayward and Rozier were out most of the season. Like, it's not just LaMelo. I mean,
I forgot they was on the team at one point.
Right. Cody Martin, his hamstring, that's mysteriously a knee injury, kind of made its way again. Seth Curry, who just got to the damn team, got hurt again. So it's management has some work to do to put some more depth on this team to prevent a season like we did this season.
I agree. I hope. I think Micic will be back next season. Trey Mann will be back. Grant Williams will be back. I think that's a good way to start with solidifying your bench. That if Mark Williams is healthy, then Nick Richards, anchors it.
Guys, I know you want to answer this question right here.
Yeah, because you know how I've always maintained this stuff. He coming home at some point, right? But here's the thing. Okay, so the Warriors dynasty is over. They're officially over. The Sacramento Kings put the nail in that coffin last week by essentially knocking them out of the playoff race. The Draymond Green got CTE or something. I don't know what's wrong with that dude. I don't know what's wrong with that guy. Like, I think you could tell Steph Curry is just done with Draymond.
Over Draymond, yeah.
I've never seen Steph Curry be that emotional over Draymond getting kicked out of the game because it's almost like a formality nowadays. Right, Draymond.
Right.
But what we saw 2 weeks ago, you could tell he's just like, I'm done. Klay Thompson is not Klay Thompson. He hasn't been Klay Thompson ever since was it ACL or Achilles?
Yeah,
ACL. 2 years ago. He was never quite the same. He could still shoot, and he's still got that, but but
it's not consistent anymore, man.
Klay was always one of the best two-way guys in the league. He's not the defender that he was. So the Warriors dynasty is over. So they're saying Klay probably won't come back. So if you're Steph Curry, Steph Curry doesn't really have a choice in the matter, although he could say, hey, I want to trade, and I think the Warriors would oblige him, but I don't think he'll do that. Steph Curry has a lot of loyalty to the Bay Area. But the Warriors may say, we need to start looking at building our dynasty back up again. And what's our most valuable piece? Steph Curry. Even though Steph Curry is 35, he'll be 36 here pretty soon. We've seen teams do that. They'll take their best player, aging player, and then
go get assets
and start rebuilding. So there's a rumor that says that the Spurs have the best chance to land Steph Curry in a trade. I don't think so. I don't think that would be the case. But do the Hornets have a chance to get Steph Curry in a trade? And the problem is that now we just don't have any more assets, right? We gave away.
Yeah, we do. Well, we have one asset we could trade. No, man, don't mess around. Get to it, man.
No, you don't make that trade. You don't make that trade. I'm sorry. And I love Steph Curry, but you don't make that trade. Now, here's the thing. Now, Steph Curry's contract is up in 2 seasons. He'll be the ripe old age of 38. I think then he comes and plays for the Charlotte Hornets for one last season. I think at the end of his contract, he signs a 1-year deal. Him and Del Curry cry it out at midcourt. He comes, he hits some threes, and then that's it. Then he rides off into the sunset, having accomplished everything he wanted to do and more in his NBA career. But as far as this version of Steph Curry that might be on the trade block, I don't think he goes to the Hornets. In fact, I'd be surprised if they trade him at all. I mean,
yeah. Now you just answered my question, because the only way that happens in the next 2 seasons is trading LaMelo Ball, which is the only asset that matches up with a trade for Steph Curry. Where's this a trade you just don't make?
I'll say this though. Can you imagine LaMelo Ball, Miles Bridges, Mark Williams, Brandon Miller, and Steph Curry?
No, it wouldn't happen, because you got to trade LaMelo Ball to get Steph Curry. So not happening. No, I can't imagine it. Absolutely
no. Actually, you could trade the pick. Trade that damn pick.
You still need money. You still need money, bro.
I think, okay, so you give the Warriors, you give them Trey Mann. I'd hate to see Trey Mann go, but he's going to be a solid NBA player. Trey Mann, a top 5 pick, and Cody Martin for Steph Curry.
The Warriors will hang up the phone, bro.
You don't make that
Now, oh, hell yeah, make the trade all day. Hell yeah, absolutely. Man, I ain't worried about nobody in this damn draft. Hell no. So yeah, but
if I'm Golden State, I would make that trade. You get a lottery pick. You get, I mean, because they know they're gonna be trash next season, so you might as well dig up ass. I don't know. Trade the pick.
So we're gonna put down our NBA 2K controllers and
one last thing to trigger Jamal before we move on.
Mm.
Go ahead and read that, bro.
I want to be careful of what I'm about to say, because I do not want to incriminate myself on the internet. I don't ever want to see Nick Batum in Charlotte, North Carolina ever again. I don't know what would happen if I did. Whenever Nick Batum does something positive or hits a shot or shows that he has a pulse or does something competitive, it makes me violent. It makes me turn into somebody I don't want to turn into. Nick, there is no athlete in Charlotte sports history that makes me angrier, that makes me want to fight more than Nicholas Batum. Move on, man. I don't want to talk about him anymore. Just move on.
You know, Vince asked us in our little under construction chat a couple of days ago if the Hornets had drafted Bradley Beal instead of Michael Kidd-Gilchrist, would things have been different? And I'll say this. I think that if we have Bradley Beal instead of MKG, we don't re-sign Nick Batum to that absurd contract.
Yep.
And we probably make the playoffs that year. We had Dwight Howard. The reason we missed the playoffs that year was because Nick Batum was trash. He was garbage. And I mean, really, we were depending on Nick Batum to be like the glue guy.
Yep.
We weren't even asking a whole lot out of him. Like 14-6-6 is what we needed out of Nick Batum.
We got 5, 3, and 5. Yep. So for me, I want to answer that question real quickly. Yeah, things would have been better because I don't know what coach can win with Michael Kidd-Gilchrist and Gerald Henderson as your wing scorers. To have somebody who can stretch the floor and shoot past 15 feet, yeah, things would have been different. And I also think that even if Bradley Beal didn't stick around for some reason, even if he said, "Hey, I want to go somewhere and be traded," you get better assets back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Michael Kidd-Gilchrist was drafted second, and we got nothing for him, which I'm not saying we should have, but he goes away and goes off the books, and you get no assets back. Right. See. And you know, people make a lot of complaints about the Hornets, but one thing I will never argue anybody on is the drafting, because that is the foundation. If you're building a house, building the team is like building a house, and if you don't have the proper foundation, then everything else is going to give you problems down the road. And the foundation in the Rich Cho era was bad drafting. Yes. So we're still recovering from not having enough assets. So hopefully the new ownership and management can kind of go in a different direction, man. We'll see.
Yeah, we were two of the people we didn't want to see Kelly Oubre gone. I still don't get that. I still don't get letting him go, particularly since the trades that you made at the trade deadline just made that even more puzzling. That,
right.
You didn't read. I gotta think Kelly Oubre maybe wanted too much money.
And Kaiser, you said this a lot before, man. It's like when the Hornets trade, it's like they're trading to cover up their past mistakes. You know what I mean? Like if you draft well, you don't have to make these trades to try to get your team better all the time. So,
right.
Yeah.
All right. We'll talk more about the Hornets as we get closer to the NBA draft. The only thing I have to say about the NBA playoffs is I do have one thing to say about the NBA playoffs. I'll never understand, and this is actually, and maybe I should save this for shout outs, but this is to Lakers fans who keep telling me what the Charlotte Hornets need to do to get better.
God. Here come the Mecklenburg casual Lakers fans.
How about the F-bomb? How the fuck do you have one of the greatest basketball players of all time, no worse than number 3, a lot of people's number 1, and Anthony Davis, and you just barely squeeze into the playoffs and you about to get swept in the first round again?
So please don't talk to me about what the Charlotte Hornets need. I
don't want to hear it.
Look, man, I'm going to try my best to not go on a rant here. I already don't respect Charlotte Lakers fans for obvious reasons, but they confirm why I don't respect Charlotte Lakers fans every time they talk. Just shut up. Shut up. Stop it.
I mean, if you got LeBron James and Anthony Davis, you should damn near never lose a game. I don't get it.
Especially if he's the GOAT, right? He's the GOAT, right?
And I had said, the Lakers might be able to get past Denver, and if they do, I think they might go to. Nope, I look stupid. I look real dumb.
Nope.
That's why.
Hey, Kaiser, do you want to talk about the other team in Charlotte?
Not really. But
Not really.
So, Carolina Panthers, something they throw football on the field. I don't know. They did re-sign Derek Brown, which is the smartest thing they've ever done.
Probably the best thing they've done this offseason.
Yep. Actually, they beefed up the O-line some, and but they're gonna be trash next season. They're just gonna be trash. So why do I? It's gonna be garbage. Mock draft. This is dumb. A lot of mock drafts have us. So the Carolina Panthers, as we all know, do not have a first round draft pick because the Chicago Bears have it, and they're going to be a powerhouse team. Go figure. But our first pick will be like the 39th pick in the
33 round. Actually 33.
Yeah, second round. A lot of people have us drafting a cornerback. I've seen us tied to the cornerback from Rutgers. Yeah, exactly. And see, this is it. No one gives a shit about the Carolina Panthers, so they're just like cornerback. You know what I'm saying? Because
all right, let me say this, man. Here's a bad kind of trend I'm seeing with the Panthers right now. So we pick up Deontay Johnson, right, from the Steelers, right, and in most mocks, they have us drafting another receiver. See, this is what's happening. Remember the Dwayne Jarrett era where we couldn't find a damn receiver, and we kept trying to find one in the wrong places.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. It was Kerry Colbert and then Dwayne Jarrett who had more DWIs and touchdowns. Remember we kept trying to find that piece, the final piece for the wide receiver, and it never happened. Remember? I'm seeing the same thing developing here.
I think Dave Canellis hit James Borrego up and was like, "Hey, bro, who was doing your hair when you was in Charlotte?" He told him. We never found out. We tried.
We never found out.
Yeah.
I'm sure some sketchy Dominican place on the south side somewhere.
Right,
we probably, yeah.
Boy, Yeah, manage expectations for the Panthers. So I'll say this:
That's an
they'll be
understatement.
better. They'll be better than they were last season because that's what the Carolina Panthers do. Right?
Yeah, it's a low bar too, buddy.
Right. So you just got to win more than 2 games, and you're already better, right? But because we don't have now, I'm not saying they can't get talent. The NFL is a lot different than the NBA. You can actually get talent in the NFL amongst all 7 rounds. Honestly, you can fill gaps and fill holes on your team in all 7 rounds, and they could pick up, a good player in the 2nd round and even the 3rd round. But we still gonna be trash. So it's not till next season where we're going to get a top 10 pick that the Panthers will really be like, okay, all right, let's see what we can do. We can get a franchise changing guy
Right.
the next season. And that's when everyone's going to be excited about the Panthers. This coming up season is a wash. Really, the focus this season should be keep Bryce Young upright.
Yeah,
That's it.
I have to commend the job that they have done this offseason to do that. We can't say it's definitely not for trying. You know what I mean? They paid Robert Hunt a lot of money, man. They went out and got the other D line who I can't think of, O lineman I can't think of right now.
Yeah.
So it's not for trying, man.
Yeah, I do expect some improvement from Mingo. I was very happy with the Jonathan Mingo pick last season, and I just feel like they underutilized him. We know that the offensive play calling was in disarray from day one. So I can't put that all on Mingo, a rookie, who's just doing what the coaching staff is teaching him or telling him what to do. We know Mingo can catch. We know he's a physical receiver, and I'd like to see him be the guy for Bryce Young. I'll say this, like, Bryce Young's guy was Adam Thielen, and we don't know if Thielen might have given all he got last season or all he had last season. So Bryce Young's going to need a new guy. Hopefully I'd like it to be Mingo, but we'll see.
Yeah.
What do you think is going to happen? What, Thursday? The draft?
Yeah, or Friday. Well,
right.
Friday.
Friday for us. Thursday, yeah, so. Forgot.
Yeah. Look, man. I mean, just kind of going off everything Dan Morgan said. They stay put and they draft another receiver, which I'm not necessarily a fan of, man. Because again, man, we're on this hamster wheel again of trying to find that guy, and all you're doing is you're just finding guys. You're not finding difference makers. So you don't have the Panthers still don't have a number 1 outside threat, and I don't know why they think they're going to find that in the 2nd round. Now, maybe their thinking is, okay, we get a really good slot guy, or we get a really good possession guy to start the piece of the puzzle. But again, man, it just feels like they're just on the hamster wheel with wide receivers, man. I don't like that direction, honestly. I really don't. Just get BPA. Whoever you think BPA is, you go out and you get that guy. Don't shoehorn a wide receiver as a draft pick because you think Bryce needs another receiver. No, just get BPA, man. But I still think
I will say this. I like what Dan Morgan's doing. I think he understands the situation, and I think he's made good moves, and he's a football guy, whereas I don't think Scott Fitterer was or whoever the GM was he wasn't a football guy. So I like what Dan Morgan's doing. I mean, I just gotta trust his judgment here. I don't know. It's hard for me to get even like a little bit excited about the Carolina Panthers because I just know they're like last season. It's weird because we didn't know they were going to be. No one expected them to be as bad as they were. No one did, and so yeah, this season I'm like, okay, they're going to be better than 2 wins, but I mean, so what? I just got to see some improvement. Okay, I got to see Bryce Young not get sacked a million times. I got to see receivers actually, trying to get open. I got to see those things. So, and then I'll be happy with the season. I don't really have a whole lot to say about Carolina Panthers right now because I hate them. And
we can tell.
I hate them.
All right, man. To finish the show, let's talk about something a lot more pleasurable than watching the Carolina Panthers. Food. So I put up 10 restaurants that I really like. I didn't rank them, man. Put them in order, nothing crazy like that. Because, for those of you on Facebook and social media, you may or may not have seen a quote unquote content creator who is going around posting about Charlotte restaurants that he hates, some of them he likes, whatever. So I thought to myself, since me and Kaiser probably don't do enough culture stuff, let me do something for the culture and put 10 restaurants that I think are really good restaurants. I didn't want to criticize. I didn't want to critique anything. I just said, hey, let me suggest 10 good restaurants. Since there are some people who are misled to think, oh, Charlotte just doesn't have anywhere good to eat. No. I at least want to put 10 good restaurants out there. Kaza, do you have any contributions or disagreements to what I put out there?
Okay, so I'm looking at the list right now. And I do remember there were a few things I was like, oh, I think Jamal left.
Yeah, I put 10. And look, immediately I thought about 3 or 4 that I could have put up there. You know what I mean?
That's the thing. That just goes to show that there's actually a lot of good food in Charlotte. In that, first of all, negativity sells.
Right.
If you want engagement on your social media platform, you really have to be negative. Positivity.
That's why our friends don't watch under construction because
positivity will get you nowhere. So I think that that's why Mr. Chime Time was dissing all these restaurants, and we even theorized like he was purposely going to restaurants that he knew were bad, or like a lot of the restaurants he was going to. I was like, I know nobody like
that restaurant on Independence Boulevard looked like a drug front. I've never been there ever.
Yeah, exactly. So but having said that, actually your list is sound. I got no disagreements there, except although all right, I do have. I will say Beef and Bottle. Now I'm not saying Beef and Bottle isn't good.
Okay.
But for what
you're messing with a Charlotte OG classic.
I know, but for what you pay for that steak, I'm not sure if it's. I'm not sure. Okay. Now I've only eaten Beef and Bottle once, and that was because everyone says, "Hey, it's the best steak in Charlotte."
Right.
And I'm not sure because you'll pay like on a light night, like $80 a person to eat a Beef and Bottle, right?
All right. Let me say this. Let me say this. I'm not gonna say Beef and Bottle is the best steak in Charlotte because I've been to damn near all of them, and I won't say it's the best. All right. However, it's pretty damn good, and I think what you do pay for. The service is excellent. It's one of those Charlotte OG classics, and just with the going rate of a good steakhouse. You understand what I'm saying? I think kind of all of them are overpriced, honestly.
Especially nowadays. Yep, you're right.
Yeah. So Beef and Bottle is kind of going with the going rate of overpriced steakhouse, in my opinion. So
okay. The only additions I might have made to that list are Sunset Soul Food. I love soul food. Sunset Soul Food is incredible. The service is not, but that's why it's good soul food. If you ever been to a soul food restaurant and it got good service, it's not good soul food. So, Sunset Soul Food, really, really, really good. Also,
so real quick, Kaza, have you seen the infamous Sunset Soul Food video? You know what I'm talking about?
No, I haven't actually.
You haven't? Where the guy got fired and went off on Sunset Soul? You never saw that?
No, I'm gonna look that up.
Anyway, it has nothing to do with the food. I just thought you might have known that, but go ahead, bro.
Po' Boy's seafood,
Freedom Drive.
Freedom Drive, really good fried seafood.
I agree. They are pretty good.
Yeah, really good. And some crab boils too, but everyone's got crab boil. And then Ribman Charlotte. Now I know it's not a he's not a restaurant. He's a food truck, but he is opening a restaurant in South Carolina. Finally.
Congrats to him as well. Yeah.
Yeah, congrats to Charlotte Ribman. But he's got Miami style barbecue, and I mean his ribs are like top 3 in Charlotte. I mean they're so good.
Amazing.
He got fried ribs too. And then Captain Steve's. Now Captain Steve's has lost a bit of his luster because the person that owned the original location in Fort Mill, and I know Fort Mill is not Charlotte, but metropolitan area, he no longer owns the other 2 locations, but the one in Huntersville is pretty good. If you like fried seafood, and to me, go ahead.
I actually went to the one in Harrisburg about 2 weeks ago.
I'm sorry, I said Huntersville. Yeah,
man, it's amazing. Like Captain Steve's is still really damn good, man.
And one thing that I love about Captain Steve's is you get a lot of food.
You get a lot of food.
And like you'll take food home, and it's amazing. Yeah. Even in
for a fat ass like me, that's really important. I can't stand spending $20 on food and I'm still hungry. That's the worst thing you can do to me. So,
there had been a lot of talk after these videos about a lack of good seafood in Charlotte, which I mean we're very far from the coast, actually.
Yeah, no doubt.
Well, North Carolina's a coastal state. We're like 3 hours away from the coast, so we're not going to get the freshest seafood. But I will say, fried seafood. I think fried seafood in this region is more of a culture stamp than barbecue is. And I know people go, but I've been all over the world, and North Carolina does not have the best barbecue. I'm sorry, they don't. I really like Kansas City barbecue better. But fried seafood, I don't care where else you go in the world, it's not going to be better than what you're going to get here in the Carolinas and Georgia. And even Florida, which has outstanding seafood, by the way. Outstanding. But the fried seafood,
not so much.
It ain't like here. You know what I'm saying? You know how we fry everything here. And I'm a huge fried seafood fan. So, Captain Steve's, Po' Boys, those places, those fish camp type places. Y'all remember, man, there used to be a fish camp in Gastonia like 30 years ago. That was just absolutely incredible. Places like that, I think, are the places where we can hang our hat as far as regional cuisine. So,
no doubt.
So, yeah. All right.
Hey, real quick, Kaiser. If you have not been to the Smoke Pit in Concord, man,
I might have to go there.
Listen. Listen. Yeah. Look, I did not rank these, but if I was ranking these, you best believe that might be at the top of the list, man. It was that, man.
Yeah, I might have to do a special under construction on location from these spots. We might have to do that. We might have to go to each of these spots and give a live review, real time review.
Yeah, we're gonna get our food critique on, man. Let's go for it, bro.
All right, I got 2 things before we leave.
Right.
One is a video that Vince sent us earlier that just confirms my suspicions that we live inside of a simulation. So, in 2021, the Carolina Panthers played the Arizona Cardinals. It's Cam Newton's first game back as a member of the Carolina Panthers since 2018. And we all remember that game. The Panthers won one of the few wins they had that season. Cam Newton runs in for a touchdown and screams, "I'm back! I'm back!" Right? Iconic moment. Since that moment, in the next season, and this is mind-blowing to me, the next season, the Carolina Panthers draft that year, the first letter of everyone's name that they drafted spells "I'm back."
Oh, wow.
And the second letter of their name spells karma. So
what?
Yeah, I'm not lying. I saw it on someone posted on Reddit, and then someone posted it on a sports podcast, but this is absolutely true. And the 2022 Carolina Panthers draft was Ikem Ekwonu, Matt Corral, Brandon Smith, Amari Barno, Cade Mays, and Kalen Barnes.
Wow.
That's IMBACK. I'm back.
Right.
The second letter of their names, KARMA. Karma.
Come on, man.
What is real life?
I'm speechless.
What are the chances?
Whoa.
What are the chances of, I don't know. We don't live in the real world. We live inside of Madden /2K universe.
What the hell?
Yeah. Well, I'll make a post about it on the construction page because it's so absurd.
Yeah, I'm sorry I have nothing to add right now.
Yeah. My second thing that I want to talk about. Okay, actually, hold on. We'll throw this in here. Shout out, now that the season's over, all the media fans that trashed the Brandon Miller pick. I'm telling you, when we went to the draft party, I thought violence was going to break out. When they said
me and Kyle looked at each other like, man, let's Herman get out of here.
Yeah, it's time to get up out of here. I mean, people's mad. I can't believe it. They was mad. People were upset at that pick. Now, no one's upset at the pick mysteriously. Gee, wonder why. Hey, I get it. Sometimes it's okay to say, hey, I was wrong about that pick. Because I've been wrong about a lot of shit when it comes to I still thought Dwayne Bacon was going to be the guy, right? So, but to be so like vehement about your belief, the guy he literally had not even put on a Charlotte Hornets hat yet. He had not played a single millisecond of NBA basketball, and people shit on him all the way through summer league and preseason, and now it's like, he was the bright spot of a dismal season. I mean, like, it's clear that he is, first of all, the whole Paul George comparison, you can totally see it in his game. He just, like, it was a really good pick for the Charlotte Hornets. And it just kind of proves, and what I would say, I said this before the draft, BPA is a myth. Sometimes you got to pick the guy that's going to fit your program the best. Brandon Miller, I think, did a good job. And I think also we got caught up in the media hype with Scoot. Scoot's generational talent. And I think Scoot will be a fine NBA player.
Your local radio stations start creating "We Want Scoot" chants, and yeah.
And
then what happened was the media also created, and the Hornets did, to be fair, this distrust from past draft picks. So everyone was just assuming that if you draft Brandon Miller, it's the Hornets screwing up another draft pick again.
This was the last thing Michael Jordan did as an owner. The very last thing. Remember, he had a one-on-one conversation with Brandon Miller, and apparently he played against him one-on-one and kind of came out and was like, oh yeah, he's the guy. So I think you add all that it wasn't just Brandon Miller. Also, we had reservations about his off-court behavior with the the murder that happened that he was indirectly involved in, all that. But I think he's proven that he's beyond all that now. So yeah. Shout out to those people. But shout out to those who recognize, hey, I was wrong. Travis, yeah, you booed at the party. Hey, as long as you're on the train now. Even Skeleton Jack from the Charlotte Hornets group came out and said, hey, man, I was wrong.
And that's an act of God there, buddy.
Nobody hated Brandon Miller more than that.
More than that dude. I almost kicked him out the group, man. Good God.
It was getting bad, man. Like, it was getting bad. Last thing I'll leave everyone with.
Good.
Rap beef.
You know you're in danger of us going another 30 minutes starting this topic. I'm gonna keep it light today, but go ahead, man.
It has to be said. Okay, so rap beef is a part of hip hop, an integral part of hip hop. Okay, since day one, literally since the very beginning, since the first day hip hop was ever thought of,
it's rap beef competition.
Right. It's super competitive. I mean, it goes all the way literally back to Rapper's Delight. You stole my rhymes, you bit my verses, da da da. And so rap beef will always be there. Having said that,
however,
when I look at rap beef, and this is old man yelling at the clouds, but when I look at rap beef from back in the day, there was more substance to it. One, the beefs were legitimate, right? And the beefs never went outside of the realm of keeping it on the record, keeping it on. Even if it got super personal, it wasn't until Pac and Biggie died, which I don't even know if their deaths were that related to their beef, but the whole East Coast, West Coast thing. But it was never like, like the beef wasn't, it was on record, right? Now that has all changed. Now, what people have to, like, when I heard Kendrick Lamar dissed J. Cole, and I listened to the record, and I was like, when did that, what was the diss? That's what this. So then J. Cole responds, and now we have this snowball effect of everybody jumping in the beef. Chris Brown, who is an underrated rapper, but his response was just like full of personal vitriol towards Quavo. And it's like, I don't know, man. I'm sick. I'm tired. I'm tired of it. I miss the days when someone was like, hey, you whack. Oh, I'm whack. Okay, you whack. Let's do some records. Okay, now let's shake hands.
Right.
We're good. Now it's not like that anymore. It's like, hey, I think you might have subliminally dissed me. So here's your diss record. I'm gonna diss you back. You know what? I take that back. I apologize. Let me. I
only have. I'm gonna keep this short because I don't want to go another 30 minutes. So I'm gonna keep this short. What's going on right now feels extremely manufactured, and I think all of these artists know that the top tier of the rappers, which is subjective, obviously, but the Kendricks and the Coles and the whoever, I guess if you want to throw Drake in there, which is comical to me, but whatever. If you want to throw him in there, I think they all know, hey, we are at the top of this food chain, and we need to, and hip hop is stale, and we need to make it interesting right now. So to me, the beef doesn't seem authentic. It just seems manufactured and made for show. You best believe when Cannabis dissed LL, he meant that shit.
Yeah.
When Ice Cube made all them songs talking about how whack people were, he meant that shit. That wasn't made up. You understand what I'm saying? So to me, it just doesn't. I guess as the young people say, it just don't hit the same for me, man. So I just whatever. Just apologize and go make some more records and whatever. I'm not invested in it as I should be, I guess.
Same here. I'm like, and I don't even think the disses are that good.
And then there's that.
I didn't think Kendrick Lamar's diss was all that great. I wouldn't have responded to it if I was J. Cole, and I think that's why the problem with J. Cole's diss is that once it's out there, you can't pull it back. Right. But he shouldn't have he should have just let it ride in the first place. I would have been like, what the yeah. I don't know, man. Common did destroy Ice Cube, but that was
why was I just about to say I swear to God, I was just about to say I'm about to go listen to the bitch in you. I swear to God, I was about to say that.
Sometime later, though, that was Ice Cube had really stopped, like, battling people at the time of that record. No Vaseline, I still think is top 3 diss all time. I mean, it's like goddamn.
That was Ether before Ether. Yeah.
Actually, my top 3.
While we're here.
We here. 13 of y'all still here, so fuck it. Number 3, second round knockout, Cannabis over LL Cool J. Cannabis won the battle, lost the war. Oh well.
Yep, I agree.
Number 2, No Vaseline. Ice Cube dissing NWA. I mean, and he went in on them cats. I mean, he went in on them. And this is gonna surprise you because there's a lot of good dishes you could put number 1. The Bridge is Over.
Yeah.
The Bitch and You.
Yeah.
but I still think my favorite, maybe not the best, my favorite is DJ Quick MC8 Dollars and Cents.
That don't surprise me because I know how much of a Quick fan you are.
Yeah, that was a hard ass diss. He went,
yeah.
He went at him, and the thing is about that diss is there was some real shit there because DJ Quick was a Pyru Blood, as was Suge Knight, and MC8 was a Trag New Crip. So there was some real cats were shooting at each other over that beef. You know, so like that's in the midst of all that, be like, you know what? I'm gonna drop a diss record. Like, yo, it's like, wow, that's crazy, DJ. Now they squashed the beef sometime later, but that's one of my favorite diss records.
All right, let me try to go 3 here real quickly, man. I agree with you on number 3. I remember skipping school to go hear that record, and my mouth just kind of dropped in the car.
Make your wife get on the horn, call Minister Farrakhan.
Hey man, do you remember how you felt when Buster Douglas knocked out Mike Tyson? That's how I felt listening to that Cannabis record. My mouth was like, did that just happen? You know what I'm saying? All right, number 2, I'm probably gonna go Hit 'Em Up. And for the same reason, I remember exactly what I was doing when I heard it. But listen, Kaiser, let me break it down. On a lyrical, technical level, it's not that great. Let me be very clear about that. But on the shock value, it's number 1. But because think about it like this. Think about the time and space we were in when that record came out, right?
Right.
And I remember being on the highway, and my boy looked at me like somebody had already died. He was like, "Hey man, you heard this yet?" He popped that tape in, and immediately you thought to yourself, "All right, man, this is serious."
The way he starts it off,
the way he starts the song is like, "Oh man, he ain't playing."
Yeah, it was almost too vile. It was almost too much. My only beef with that song is that he only drops one verse and he leaves.
And then the Outlaws come in and do it. Right. Yeah. And we didn't really need y'all on the song, but whatever. And number 1 is Ether. This man made Ether an action verb.
Yes,
I'm gonna leave it at that. Yeah.
Ether. That's. I remember where I was when I heard that. I was in South Korea at the time, and somebody played it at a club. They're like, "Nas new Jay-Z diss." Everyone's like, "Jay-Z diss? Like what the fuck?" And it is a dope track as well. Like, not outside of the context of a diss record, it's a dope song.
But you know what people never tie into the beat in the song? You know what people never tie in? Think about it like this. That beat is like a slow, dragging beat. It's not like high BPMs. It's not like this up-tempo fast song. It's like a slow dragging. And Ether means burning slow. It's like the whole concept of the song goes together. You understand what I'm saying? And then on top of that, like, it was you had to be insane to diss Nas. Anybody. You understand what I'm saying? And for somebody to come at Nas and then for him to come back and not disappoint. Yeah.
Yeah. Ether. I mean, it's a damn verb.
Yeah. All right.
That's crazy. That's all I got. Also, congratulations to former Charlotte Sting player Don Staley.
No doubt, man.
And the USC Lady Gamecocks. I mean, I bet not seen any of y'all with Caitlin Clark jerseys on rolling around Charlotte.
I swear to God, if I see one Indiana Fever damn Caitlin Clark jersey, I'm snuffing one of you. Just don't start. Don't start.
Yeah. I've been following WNBA
But speaking of champions, we did it again. Shout out to the 6-time back-to-back national champion University of Connecticut Huskies. I don't know what to say at this point, man. I mean, we run the basketball world. Have your little tired blue blood conversations and get your little 5-star recruits and Cooper Flag, go to Duke and get all the national TV all you want to. Hey, you can go to Duke and win the ACC tournament, but we'll just keep winning championships over here, man. It's all good. Back-to-back 6-time national champion, University of Connecticut Huskies. Dan Hurley, stand put. He ain't taking the money to go to Kentucky, so kill all that talk too. We here. That's it.
College shit.
I knew he was gonna say.
College shit. Hey, we love y'all. Thanks for coming back. Yeah, we're back now. I think next week we'll actually be back in the studio. So
please keep me posted, sir.
Yes, I certainly will. So, but yeah, we'll let you guys know as well. Thanks for riding with us this week. Enjoy the NFL draft. Enjoy the NBA playoffs. And
that we are not in again.
Yeah, we're not there. Yeah. We can. Who are you pulling for, by the way?
Just long as the Lakers get beat, I don't care.
Denver. I'll go with Denver. I'll jump on the bandwagon.
Yeah. You know what? I'm gonna say something that's kind of surprising to you. This may be a bit surprising. I'm kind of rooting for the Knicks for one reason. Knicks fans know what long-time misery feels like. And I'm just happy that some Knicks fans can finally have some basketball happiness.
Here, my problem with that is they know what long-time misery is, but they pretend like they don't. That's the difference. We acknowledge. You know what? You know who also knows about long-term misery? The Minnesota Timberwolves.
Yeah, no doubt.
If you want to talk about how mediocre the Hornets have been, the Minnesota Timberwolves have been worse.
Yeah, yeah. And I dare somebody to argue that. Yeah.
Yeah. So for them, I'm happy. Minnesota is one of my second homes. Although I hate to see them having success when the Hornets aren't. It's good for their fans and them. They won't get past the Denver Nuggets, but they've built something. They've built something good.
They should be excited, man. They should be excited about the future. Absolutely.
So, but yeah, as long as whoever knocked the Lakers out is good for me. And then, hey, maybe we can draft Bronny, and then we get LeBron James.
All right. Hey, thank y'all for watching.
Peace, y'all.
Peace.